There's so much power in oneness, a oneness of self, and also my whole life is one. And the only way to get to that place is authenticity and honesty. God's in the relationships. God is in me. It's in you. It's in us. It's in we. Anybody can meditate in a monastery. And he goes, but can you meditate on a subway? You know, can you meditate in traffic? Can you bring that level of presence, awareness, and reverence for spirit to all of our encounters and to all of our relations?
Adam Jackson, brother, welcome to the Wild Lab, my friend. It's good to have you here. And I want to get into all the things that you do with Sacred Sons. I want to get into the movement, the brotherhood, and all of that. But first, I want to know a little bit about the man. I want to know about who you are and where you came from. I mean, you're the co-founder of an international men's movement, Sacred Sons. You're a former rock band leader. You're a husband. You're a father. You're a brother. You're a boy who grew up in Ohio, right? Dayton, Ohio.
You know it. Dayton, Ohio represent.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, you're someone I've sat in a circle with a number of times and will again. You know, and one of the things that I really appreciated about you, and I appreciated about your relationship, is the strength that you bring to your work, to all your relationships. And I find that like there's a lot of times that men that come to work with me at Wobbly School of the Wild, right? There's a lot of people that are losing themselves, you know, but like what I see in you as a strong man, and I see, you know, in a lot of the group work that you do, it's the lion heart, right? The lion heart brotherhood. I'm wondering if you can take us to a moment in your memory, whether it's in your childhood or whether it's, you know, in your adolescence or whatever, when you first recognized that the man that you were meant to become, who you were, what was happening, and how did you know it?
Ned, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me into your space, into your home. And I hope this is the first, this is a continued conversation, but maybe another step into being in the wild with you.
Absolutely. We're going to make that happen one day.
And man, there's been many moments, but what comes to my mind right here, right now, I was in the 11th grade, Dayton, Ohio, Chaminade Julienne. I went to a Catholic school. I was raised Catholic. And my 11th grade teacher took us on a guided meditation. And this is when I used to sleep through religion class. You know, I used to sleep through school, basically. And on this day, she took us on a guided meditation, and it, in short, went like this: go find a hill. See yourself walking up that hill. Look out from the top of that hill, and now go find God. And so, like in this visualization, I go down this hill, and I'm like floating down, and I'm floating through the city. In my visualization, I actually went to Tip Top, which is Woodland Cemetery. It's the highest point in Dayton. And so I'm coming down this hill, and then there's all this bright light, and I see all my friends there. And at this time, I had my brother, I had my skateboard crew, my graffiti crew, you know, all my friends, and they were all there. And in the visualization, I was like, oh, this is God. God's in the relationships. God is in me. It's in you. It's in us. It's in we. And that was one of the defining moments where I had that I and I vision, where I recognized the God in me sees the God in you. And it's never left me. And I wrote a long letter to that teacher saying how impactful this was. But here's the trip. Christmas Eve of that year, and this was in the 90s. If I was my junior year, this would have been 1997. On Christmas Eve, I'm at a party in the Oregon district downtown at this brother Philippe's house. Rest in peace, Philippe. And my skateboard crew, they go, let's go skate. Because like it's Christmas, the streets are empty, all the lights are on. We go to Woodland Cemetery because this is where we go to shoot hills. And so we go up the hill, up and up and up, and we're at the top and we're just playing around. It's myself and three of my friends. Also my brother Tavis, who's passed away since then. And we start going down, and we go down Woodland Cemetery. We go down Brown Street. We end up at Courthouse Square. with the
mm,
huge Christmas tree and it's all lit
mm.
up. And in that moment, I go, oh my gosh, this was that vision I had. I was like, this was that vision. And I'm watching my friends skate, and at this time I wasn't so vulnerable that I would have busted out crying. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But I felt the welling up and I saw my friends skating and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that's it. There's God right there.
mm.
And like that essence of a connection, my own connection to the divine, to the sacred, to relationships. That was one of the more pivotal moments where I like really took in this awareness that it's in the relationships. Like we're
Mhm.
here, we're relational beings. And, I carry that with me. I carry that essence of brotherhood with me. It's a part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing because I really, it's embedded in my bones. And
Yeah.
so that was a part of me understanding who I am and who I am being, you know, a divine soul, just like you, just like all of us who are here to have a human experience.
So God is in the relationship. Yeah.
God is in everything.
Mm.
And if we are humble enough to recognize it, then we can behold like the beauty of it.
Absolutely, man. And I think I've had many different initiations and thresholds into that realization myself. And in fact, like we've talked about this, but I'm writing a book about one of those or many of those as we speak. But before we jumped on, you were talking about, and you mentioned it a little bit in your story. You were talking about a man who has mentored you, a man who has held space for you, right? And I'm curious when you're talking about God and you're talking about like becoming the man that you are. I wonder if you can tell me a little bit about I think you said Chief Daniel Thunderhawk Moon, right? I wonder if you tell
Yeah,
me a little bit about him and how he shaped you as a man.
absolutely. It's interesting. These journeys have hills often or climbs that I have to go up to. I was coming off of a particularly hard breakup where there was shared space, a shared pet, a dog, a
Mm,
business, and this would have been about 15 years ago now. And I was feeling really low, man. Sometimes coming off breakups are also some of my biggest breakthroughs
of
have been,
course.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I was just feeling bad for myself. Was walking through a Trader Joe's and my friend Ciara, she she was working at Trader Joe's and she saw me feeling sorry for myself and she said, "Hey,
Mhm.
I want to invite you to something." And it's a sweat lodge and it's a Lakota ceremony. I'm like, I'm there. I will be there. She's like, it's on Saturday. She goes, "Hey, a lot of people say they're going to come, but really come." And I was like, I got nowhere else to go right now. So I made my way up this hill, Madre Grande here in San Diego. And I'm like carrying a backpack of resentment for this
Mhm.
relationship that has just ended. And this was like the first time in my adult life that I sat down in a circle
Mm, mm,
and
really?
had a check in and had a check
How
in.
old were
You
you?
know what I'm
How
saying?
old were you then?
I'm 31. I'm
31.
31
Okay.
years old. And
Wow.
right now I'm
Okay.
45.
Right.
And so, I've had a lot of experiences, but like this is when ceremony came back into my life, truly. And so we're sitting in circle and Hawk asked me the question that I still to this day ask all the men who come into our space, why are you here? And I'm like, I'm going through it. She did this, she left me, she did that, she took everything off the walls and just dipped.
Mm,
And I'm just like feeling sorry for myself and
yeah.
and angry.
Yeah.
And he just looks at me, he goes, You know what all your relations have you know what all your relationships have in common? You're in all of them. And it just cut me because I'm coming here looking for support and
Hmm.
maybe even a little,
Right.
pat on the back. And he
Right.
didn't. He cut me right away. And in that moment, I had to take like responsibility. Yeah, like I have a deep part in this. Anyways, moves right
Yeah.
on. Moves right on. No follow up. And here I am. I think I'm coming to connect to ancestors and all this stuff.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
like here's someone else telling me it's my responsibility. So we go through the rounds, and in Sweat Lodge, as you know, there's 4 rounds. Each round has an intention. And in that fourth round of lodge, the intention is gratitude.
Mhm.
And he tells a story about a man who's come to lodge, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and he had 6 months left to live. And he sat right here in this lodge, and he found gratitude for the thing that was killing him.
Mhm.
And he's like, they say he lived more in those last 6 months than he lived in the entire life before. And so as he's telling the story, I'm like, yeah, how can I get grateful? And he's just like, it felt like in that moment he was talking right to me, but there's, a group of people and we're in
Right,
the
right,
dark. But he just says,
right,
sometimes you have to be grateful for the things that are hurting you. Sometimes you got to be grateful for the things that are killing you. Close the door. And I'm a very visual person. So in the darkness, and he's lighting me up, telling me to be grateful for this pain that I'm feeling. No man has ever
right.
told me that. No one's ever,
Yeah.
no one had ever like pushed me to a place of like, of such a simple but potent and real um, way of being. And in that moment, I had this visualization, and I saw it in my mind. I was having a conversation with her. I forgave her. I just got so
Huh.
grateful for the years that we had. I was brought to tears, and I was just like, I didn't have a drum at that time. This is my first lodge. So I'm just like, I'm beating on my legs. I'm like coming alive. My soul's coming alive again. I'm like, yes.
Mhm.
And I had this, and I came into a place of acceptance and forgiveness. 3 weeks later, she calls me. She invites me to come to a tattoo convention. I said, hey, I'll meet you outside. And she comes outside, and I tell her the exact thing that I saw in that vision in lodge. Like, I'm so grateful for the time we had. I understand.
Mhm.
Like, all is forgiven. And it just like washed it away. And from that moment, yeah, Hawk became a mentor for me. And, you know, I also shared this with you, but he was diagnosed with cancer himself. He was a Vietnam
Mhm.
veteran. He had bone cancer from Agent Orange. And so this is
Wow.
a brother. When he was diagnosed with cancer 10 years ago, he was also told he had 6 months, and he ended up living for 10 years.
Wow.
For 10 years.
Wow.
And what he said, and I know, and I feel the truth in this. He was like, this lodge kept me alive. He's like, these sweats, this Inipi ceremony, this
Mhm.
kept me alive. But what he meant, it wasn't actually the heat or the sweat. It was the people. It
Mhm.
was the community. It was his dedication to service that gave him those extra years, man.
Yeah.
And, just coming out of his memorial and seeing the folks that showed up and all the people that he impacted with his
Mhm.
presence. This was a great man. He was described by his brother-in-law as a native cowboy Elvis ceremonialist. He was like a
I
larger than
love it.
life figure, Hawk
Yeah.
was. So rest in peace, Daniel Thunderhawk Moon. And I'm incredibly grateful for his presence in my life.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And I think we all need the mentors like that, right? And we all need the people to remind us to be grateful. Look, it's so easy to be grateful for the beauty. It's so easy to be grateful for the mountains, for the people that like love us. And it's just as important to be grateful for pain, to be grateful for death, to be grateful
Yes.
for the things that terrify us and break us down and make us cry, because those are the things that actually turn us into humans and help shape us, right? So often, I mean, I talk about it in this podcast all the time, but and in my life, but it's because it's so very real and it's so very visceral. It is super easy for me to be centered and grounded and spiritual and feel close to God when I'm in the mountains, when I'm, standing on a beautiful, a beautiful mountain peak overlooking a valley and a river and, feeling the wind in my face. That's simple. That's easy, right?
Yes.
Anybody can do that. But if you're talking about God being in all things, he is also in the death. He is also in the pain. He is also in the breakup, right?
Hmm.
And I think for me, I mean, at least, you said before you came on here, you're just trying to be the best you, the best Adam Jackson, or however you put it, right? And I'm doing the same thing. And part of that for me is recognizing and realizing the God in all things, especially in the case of pain, especially in the case of grief, especially in the case of death, and even things as simple as traffic, brother. Like,
Well, yeah, I want to say Hawk used to say this all the time. Anybody can meditate in a monastery. Can you bring that level of presence, awareness, and reverence for spirit to all of our encounters and to all of missions? That's and it's not about perfection. It's not about being a monk going off onto the mountain to live in a cave and to sit in silence. It's actually about coming back, returning with the gold, being amongst the people and shining our light, bringing our frequency. That, like, can we actually bring light into the darkness? Can we bring calm into the storm?
yeah,
And as a
yeah,
person who's raising a family with small children, it is in my daily I mean, this is my daily practice and ritual. I got toddlers
yeah, yeah,
throwing tantrums, bro. It's
yeah,
real out here.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
real out here in 2025 with screens and toys and school and all of the things, and time just seems to just keep on moving.
yeah.
And so, like, yes, as a father, like, bringing some of that energy where, yeah, it is easy to pray in sweat lodge.
Hmm.
It is easier to release that anger, to let go,
Hmm.
let it
Hmm.
go. And can I do that in the mundane? Can I do that in the ordinary?
Yeah,
Because that's where the real work is.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm curious, with death being so much in your field, with one of your mentors dying, and you mentioned another brother as well passing recently. As a father and as someone who is working on cultivating gratitude for all these things in the mundane, in the pain, in all of that, like, I'm curious what the passing of your mentor, like, if you can reflect on that, what does that mean to you as a father, right? What does that mean to
Mm.
you as a husband? What does that mean to you as a brother? Because I know these are some of the important relationships in your life, right? And having an important mentor like that who was instrumental to your development. What is that going to mean for you moving forward? How is that going to help those or change those relationships, deepen them? I don't know.
Yeah. The word that comes up for me is legacy,
Hmm.
you know, and then something that happened that was really amazing is after Hawk's memorial, we sat in the sweat lodge,
Hmm.
dedicated to him. And at the memorial service, it felt like something was missing, like his presence was missing, you know.
Yeah.
And as soon as we closed the door of the lodge and the water started to be poured, the songs began to be sung, it was like, oh, it's here in the ceremony.
Hmm.
Like, he has actually taken the time to prepare this community for him not to be here.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was evident. It was evident in the teachings that we all shared in bringing forward some of his teachings. It was evident in the songs. It was evident in the spirit of Inipi, the aliveness that happened. And so what that meant to me was, like, there's an element of being able to pass on culture, tradition, ritual, rites
Hmm.
that is so necessary.
Hmm.
And so what it looks like for me in my thinking is like, wow, can I actually build something that has legacy? Can we create a culture that gets to be passed down?
Hmm.
Will someone stand up? Like, will someone stand up in my absence and say the words and
Hmm.
continue to care enough? Continue to care enough. Could I be a man that evokes enough care from other humans to say, hey, this thing is worthy. Let's build. Let's continue.
And what is the thing? Can you put a name to it? This thing is worthy. When you say the legacy, do you mean the sons? Do you mean relationships? Do you mean your sons, your wife? What do you mean? What is the thing?
Yeah, I mean, directly in my life, I'm thinking about the culture of sacred sons.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about the experience that we've created, which is like a modern ritual, modern rites of passage, modern
Yeah.
initiation for men.
Yeah.
I'm actually here, Ned, creating something that is bigger than me.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm inviting other men to come be a part of something that's bigger than any one of us, right? And so that's a part of my mission here right now in real time. And so that's the thing. Could we pass on a legacy of brotherhood, a legacy of connection, where that men around the world know that if they need an initiation or rites of passage or simply a breakthrough, or they're coming off of a breakdown, that they have a place to go. That's the mission that I'm currently dedicating my life to. Like, this is
Mhm.
my life's work.
Yeah, I
And at the
see that.
same time you know, showing up at that memorial, I just wanted to make sure the family was okay. Does
His
the
family or your
His
family?
family, does his
Yeah,
daughter have everything she needs? Does his wife have what they need? Showing up and being of support, like, can we also create a community that actually shows up, that actually cares?
yeah, yeah.
And when it's time to care, when it's time to actually, and I'm not talking about a fucking GoFundMe. I'm talking about
I feel you.
presence. I'm talking
I
about
feel you.
eye to eye, heart to heart. Let's hug until, until the shaking stops.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Could we actually create a culture in a community that cares enough? And I know that we can,
Mm.
and I know that we are. And I'm coming off of 2 memorial services. I was telling you, like, death is really here, and there's another brother in the community that was lost, and so to come around again, to come around the fire, and just to be with the grief, to be with the stories, um, to be also with the discomfort, you know, and the
Mhm.
pain of loss
Mhm.
in a way that doesn't shy away from or attempt to make meaning too quickly. Just to sit with, like, wow, this is
Yeah,
like, it's okay to be in shock too.
yeah.
And so, yeah, back to, like, what does that mean to have lost a mentor?
Mhm.
Gosh, it also reminds me that it's in those simple moments. Like, there's men that I've said words to, and they remember it and will tell me, like, "Man, you said this one thing to me, and it put me on a
Mhm.
trajectory."
Yeah,
And so in that responsibility, that's a sacred responsibility also,
absolutely.
like, to be, like, incredibly mindful and careful and slow
Mhm.
and deliberate, with what I got to offer.
Yeah. That responsibility is huge, and it's it weighs heavy in my life as well, because I'm not only do I take people hunting and teach them bushcraft in the wilderness, but I mean, I'm a college professor, and so I have people come back to me sometimes, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I've only been teaching for 12 years, so, like, not a decade, but, like, people come back to me for a long time and say, as you just said, like, "You told me this," and I may not even remember it. Oftentimes I don't, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not no disrespect to them, it's just I say a lot of things to a lot of different people.
You're like, "I say a lot of good stuff." Yeah.
Well, but they come back and they're like, "But this changed my life. What you said to me changed my life, and it sent me, to be a doctor, it sent me to grad school, it sent me to, to get married," whatever it was, like, it
Mhm.
changed my life, and I wanna thank you for that, and man, that is just a tremendous weight that I take with great responsibility, and I recognize the gravity of it. And I see you as somebody who recognizes the gravity of it as well, right? You're not just blowing smoke. I do believe that when we talk and when you say things like that, it comes from a place of authenticity and it comes from a place of realness and groundedness. And yeah, but for me in my own life and in my own, mentorship ways, I think about that legacy all the time, right? And I think about, like, it's not just, and look, I think what you're building with Sacred Sons is beautiful. I think it's powerful, and I think, yes, it is something, and there will be a legacy. And brother, like, there's also, like, the legacy of just that one interaction you have with somebody at the grocery store, or
Absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so there, and that's who I am, with or without Sacred Sons or any kind of title or being on stage, singing in a band and all that stuff. Like, I actually walk that. I'm like, I like to stop at a red light and make eye contact and lift somebody's spirits. I literally
Right.
just came from the grocery store getting my cold brew coffee, and Donna at the register. I'm like,
Hmm.
"Donna, what's going on?" Like
Mhm.
I see her holding that leg. She's like, yeah, doctor says I need to exercise. I'm like, all right, well, what are we going to do today? Let's get out
Right.
and just start walking, Donna. She's like,
Right.
yeah, that's what I got to do. I just got to walk. I'm like, yeah, just 10 minutes, Don. Like I actually feel that connection. That's what that meaning of that story is. I was telling earlier about my friends, like, and again, I'm not out here to be like, oh, I'm this thing. And what I'm saying is I actually love and care for people. I love humans. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people right now that are like, ah, man, fucking humanity, this, or like
Mhm.
people suck, or
Mhm.
that side sucks, or this side is better. And it's like,
Right.
no, 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 no. When you get down to the people, people are fucking amazing. People are genuine. I absolutely believe in the goodness that exists within the souls of human
Yeah.
beings
Yeah.
through all cultures, through all walks of life. Like I'm for humanity.
Absolutely, bro, and I see that in you. I think, and I'm gonna get to a question here. But to reflect on it as well, like I I'm with you there. I haven't always been with you there. Um, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, totally.
I spent like look, I used to train horses, and I spent a vast amount of my time in the wilderness. But I fucking love people. Absolutely love people. But I didn't always, right? I partly trained horses, one, because I loved horses and I was good at it, and there was some things there. Um, but I partly did it to escape, to escape from society and escape from uh all the different things that were going on. So I'm curious to ask you, like, you when I one time asked you, I don't know where we were, we might have been in Canada, I believe, but I one time asked you, you wear all these different hats, right? You're a father, you're a brother, you're Sacred Sons, and you're on social media all over the place. And I one time asked you how you managed to juggle all the different hats and the worlds that you walk in. And your answer to me was, I've always been myself. And I always, I am just Adam Jackson. And I have always been that. And I don't change. I wonder, for
I've been me
people,
forever.
that's what you said. I've been me forever. Right. That's how you
Uh,
put it. Right. Um, and I think for a lot of people, bro, like that's a simple statement, but it's a really difficult thing. How how have you come to that place? Because I'm sure, like, I know you've been through hard times. Like, I know you were married previously and
yeah.
before this marriage. Like, I know you've had struggles. How how have you gotten to that place? Because I think that story is something that can be important and powerful for other people.
Yeah, there's so much power in oneness,
Mm.
a oneness of self. Um, and also my whole life is one. And the only way to get to that place is authenticity and honesty. And so I've been out of myself. Like I know what it feels like to be dishonest. And that feels not like me. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
That's when I feel disconnected from the unity that really exists within me. But since I was a small child, I have felt this oneness of self. And just quickly, I come from a divided family. My parents were divorced by the time I was one. I'm biracial. My father is black. My mother is white. I didn't know either of my grandfathers. Both of them died while my parents were children.
Hmm.
My father's father, Charles Jackson, my name is Adam Charles Jackson, so I'm named after him. He died of a heart attack when my father was 5. They were driving in a truck. Charles Jackson had a heart attack, peeled off the road and crashed into a tree, and my dad was there to witness it.
Mm.
His older brother is also named Charles Jackson. He died at 32 of a heart attack on a basketball court. My dad's
Mm.
playing basketball. By the way, this is the year I'm born. Charles Jackson dies of a heart attack. My dad's holding his brother in his arms. And so there's this whole story of like, man, I came in through this portal and there was so much loss
Hmm.
and there was a lot of grief. And this is
Hmm.
the time my parents are splitting. And only as an adult did I realize, like, oh, my dad was grieving the loss of his brother at the time of the divorce. Like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to put these pieces together. My mother's father, he committed suicide when she was 17 years old while she was pregnant with my sister.
Wow.
My mom and my dad met 16. By 17, she's pregnant. She comes home, hears a bang in the attic, goes up there and finds her
Mm,
father.
mm,
She
mm,
thought that he did that because he found out she was pregnant by my dad. The truth is, he was manic depressive. He was an incredibly ill-tempered human,
mhm.
and you know, I don't know exactly what that experience must have been for him, but he must have been in a lot of pain
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
out like that.
Yeah.
And somehow, Ned, I come through the portal of my mom and my dad, who have experienced a lot of trauma and all this kind of separation and loss.
Mhm.
And I experienced nothing but love from them.
Hmm.
My mom is the cycle breaker in the family. She received a lot of abuse from her father and growing up, and she
Mhm.
passed none of it on to me. My grandmothers on both sides were incredibly loving, helped raise me. I would go to my mom's mom, Evelyn, go to my grandmother's house after school. She would feed me, put me on the couch, put for a nap, like just take care of me. I was this vessel being cared for the whole way through.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I honestly feel a real responsibility that I was brought through in this way, cleared the path for. And I just remember being loved as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that and I also have an older brother, an older sister. We used to fight. I have my
Of
own like
course.
stuff. I have my own stuff, but I have this responsibility to myself of like man, some people have it real hard. And
Mhm.
my mom and my dad are some of those people. And yet they still found some room to give me life, to raise me, to have me have an education. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. And like, I'm here to pass it on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling that story, man, because I recently pulled out a picture of my grandfather who committed suicide. And I just stared into the eyes and I kind of had stories about him and like, man, he did a lot of bad things because those are the stories that I was told as became an
Sure.
adult. He did a lot of bad things. But I'm also like, he made a decision to stop passing it on. Is
Mm,
there
in
a
that way.
part in that way? Is
Mhm.
there a part where I can actually lend this person some acceptance and forgiveness? Because who else
Wow.
in my line is going to do it?
Right.
And I believe in this type of thing. Like
Absolutely.
in 7 generations or even like in connecting with our ancestors, can we find a little bit of compassion, even for the ones who hurt us, even for the ones, you know, even for the fuck ups, even for the ones
Mhm.
who didn't have their shit together?
Mhm.
Could we in this life now be grateful because they did live long enough to pass on to us life?
Mm. Mhm.
And I pray on that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That must've been powerful for you, man, to, like, to look at a picture of your grandfather and not only forgive him for what he did, but also have gratitude, to bring it back to what you were saying, to have gratitude for I mean, he also passed on there's other trauma that happens in a
Yes.
rupture like that, right? But yeah, to try to flip the switch or script and say, in fact, you actually broke the cycle in a way. In some of the ways you actually broke the cycle and to have compassion for that. Yeah, that's a tremendously powerful act and for yourself and for your sons and for their sons, absolutely. For
Yeah. And
legacy.
I don't want to diminish the intensity and the pain that comes along with suicide. And in in many cultures around the world, it's not seen as this like really terrible thing all the time.
Hmm.
It's there's a also an understanding of our own sovereignty. And what I mean by that is I don't this is like a very sensitive thing.
Yeah.
But I asked my grandmother, before she passed about him. And about that time because I'm also a seeker and I want to know things. I want to be there because I spent a lot of time being like, that guy's not me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I'm not him.
Right. Right. Right.
And look at what I'm doing now. I'm showing up to be of service. There's been many men, speaking of mentorship, who've come to a weekend or come to some of these things and being like, hey, I was on the verge of not wanting to be here. And now
Yeah.
I've got new life. And
Yeah.
so maybe there's a part of him that passed. And somehow I'm here now.
Hmm.
And I'm helping brothers who are struggling with some of those same mental challenges that my grandfather, who I did not know, was struggling with, and just subtly, gently supporting them here in this life.
Yeah.
Maybe in fact, there is a part of him that is in me,
But
and
there
I'm
is.
expressing it differently. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I absolutely know what you're saying.
And so my
Yeah.
grandmother said she felt relief. She felt relief because the abuse stopped.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's something.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, there is a part of there's the good parts and there's the traumatic parts in us and the way we transmute it, that's what that's what really matters, right? Is what we do with it. Because all of those genes or DNA or I don't, energy that's passed on from our ancestors, like that is in us, in each and every one of us, right? And it's up to us to live it, to act it, and to transmute some of it in some ways. And so I absolutely see that in you, man. And it's really look, I don't know if we've had this conversation, but I've definitely had it with other people. I mean, that's a huge part of my own story, right? Like I tried to take my life multiple times and the gun didn't go off and other things
Wow.
happened and like, there's that's that's why I'm here, right? Is because I tried to do that to myself, and I recognize that as some of the stories that you've been sharing highlight, right? Like I'm not alone in that. Doesn't make me unique. It's in fact a very common story among men, especially today,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So thank you,
And
brother. Yeah,
our fathers did not have ritual or rites of passage. They had
absolutely,
at best, they had kind of a oppressive religious upbringing, right?
for sure.
And and what would the world look like if we have some hand in returning ritual rites of passage and men's initiations back into the culture? And I don't mean the
Yeah,
organization of Sacred Sons. I'm talking
I
about
know what you mean. Yeah,
embedded into the culture where boys know that have the marking from boyhood to manhood, that they must go through an initiation that must be supported by the uncles and by
yeah,
the elders.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
an important part of our human experience that has been stripped away. You know, it's
absolutely.
been replaced with consumerism. It's been replaced with getting a car. It's been replaced with education, going to college as the marking. But that is not what men need, and it's clear that it's not working.
It's no, it's clearly not working. And I mean, yeah, the initiations that we don't have rites of passage. We have initiations through, and mine were through drugs, they were through violence, they were through, I was never in gangs, but like, got in lots of fights and those were very unhealthy initiations. They weren't supported through community and intention and yes, strife and but also ceremony, right? They weren't supported through that. And yeah, I mean that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know it's why you're doing what you're doing. And I absolutely think that there are waves beginning to be made. Like I'm not one of those people that like, I actually have a shit ton of hope for this world, like a ton of hope for this world. I work with
Yeah.
young people all the time in my classrooms, right? Whether it's in the woods or whether it's through writing, I work with young people all the time. And I see all of them begging. Like they don't know what they're begging for, but some of them do, but most of them don't. But what they're really begging for, men and women alike, are begging for rites of passage. They're begging for a return, like a demarcator that says, okay, yeah, from boyhood to manhood, or from girlhood to womanhood. And I know that there are biological rites of passage that happen still to this day with women, but they're still lacking as well, right?
Yeah,
And
there's so much room for ceremony
yeah,
in those natural initiations. Even,
absolutely.
I mean, in my world growing up as a teenager, like I'm saying, I was skateboarding and the movie Kids was very popular. Do you remember that movie Kids?
Yes,
Right?
I do. Frightening
So just
parts of it.
right. But just to say this, like losing your virginity or like hooking up with as many girls as you can as a teenager and into your 20s, like that's an initiation that could be through mentorship, like have a ceremony created around this so young men also understand what it means to um be responsible
Yeah,
and to seek for consent and
yeah,
to like make sure that young men are equipped with these emotional skills to really, because that's what it means to be a man, is to be responsible. Straight up. It's like when we start taking responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions,
hmm
that's when we know like, okay. And in order to do that, we need training. we need like actual, and it's not some entitled, just like giving somebody information. It's just like when I went up on that mountain feeling sorry and it's being cut. Like, no,
yeah,
it's not about feeling sorry for yourself or feeling less than. It's about being marked as like, take responsibility, wake up, be here.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah.
this is the action. It's like when Kale speaks of it, it's almost like, and we kind of need that. We need to get punched in the face. I'll say it. I need to be punched in the face as a young man.
A- abs- ab-
In a good way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. No, listen, I mean, I've said it for you, and I don't think, like I think there's ways to back off on it, because I think sometimes people, when I say this, like, no, I don't think anybody should be beaten by their fathers or anything like that. But I think the world would be a massively different place if everyone got punched in the face and took a hallucinogenic, an entheogen. I think would be vastly different. I mean, and had a rite of passage, and both of those things can, they can be one and the same, in fact. And for you, especially in Sacred Sons, sometimes they are one and the same. Men getting punched in the face and having an initiation and rite of passage, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say that throughout time and history, many cultures have created these rituals and ceremonies. And what we are doing at Sacred Sons is creating a modern rites of passage, right? I mean, there
Right.
is there's a lot of room for experiencing cultural initiations and seeing what has come before. And for me, there's like an inherent understanding and knowingness in our bones that something needs to change. There's a beckoning for transformation. And so we use modern tools
Mm-hmm.
like sparring. Like sparring doesn't belong to any one culture. Men have been fighting since Cain and Abel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we
Right.
utilize this mechanism of of combat, and we ritualize it, and we give it the proper attention it needs so that we can imbue the sacredness into it. And
Yeah.
so we can take these modern tools and create ritual around them without like having to borrow so much from indigenous culture. And I'm one I've sat in plant medicine ceremonies. I had a very clear vision, and it was like, we don't need to take from these indigenous cultures. We need to
Mm-hmm.
seek what they sought, create in a way with the things that are available to us now, in the same way that they were seeking. Because I
Mm.
see a lot of mimicry out here. And I just want to
Yeah,
be
for
very
sure.
clear. There's a lot of mimicry and like mimicking other cultures and even adorning ourselves in regalia that doesn't belong to us. And I'm not for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm standing for is a knowingness that something needs to change, something needs to move, and we have everything we need. How can we put it to good use? How can we put it to usefulness? You've been to our events. We have very little, um, all of our events. I should say this just in case somebody's listening for the first time, but all of our events are absolutely sober. But we,
Right.
we we have like one rope that we use. We have boxing gloves And otherwise, it's really just ourselves, our energy, our words, and our intentions. And it's enough.
Right.
It's enough to
Yeah.
create that
Yeah.
experience. Does that make sense? I know it
Yeah,
makes sense
no,
to you because of,
absolutely. I mean, no, what is the vision that you have for Sacred Sons? Like when you're talking about creating a legacy, when you're talking about like, leaving behind something, creating brotherhood, um, what is your vision for it? Because I know it's not, I know it's bigger than what it is now. So where do you see this going? Where do you see your movement of Sacred Sons going in the future?
yeah, when we first started on this mission, it was important for us to show the emotions of men and to show the pain, the stories. Um, and when I say show, I mean quite literally. We are in an attention culture through Instagram and social media. And for good reason, many cultural traditions are often kept hidden, keep what is sacred secret. And in this time, we felt it was important to show the work, not to hide the emotions, not to further suppress, but to like, hey, these are the actual stories. These are the actual things men are going through, because in that there's an invitation for other men to share, for other men to come out of isolation and into connection. And so that was the first part of it. The other part of it was that it was going to be diverse. It was going to be for all men. And our community, as you've experienced, is diverse on many levels. It's diverse
Mm-hmm.
culturally, financially, religiously, um, even
Mm-hmm.
age wise. We have youth coming in all the way up to elders who might soon be seeing themselves out. And so creating a culture of diversity of men, because that's truly where that's fodder for like more understanding, more compassion. I'm going to speak a little bit more about why that's important. And the last piece of it is to make it cool for young people to want to do inner work, to want to reflect on themselves, to create a culture where not only personal development, but collective embodiment is seen as something that is worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so to instill these values of responsibility, integrity, service, and ethics as a means to creating a greater culture where safety and support for the women, for the children, for our elders, which is completely misaligned at this time, especially the ways we care for elders, especially
Mm-hmm.
the way women are treated in our society. If there was such a thing as a
Yeah.
grand vision, it is actually to impact the culture. And the way we do that is through connecting men to their hearts, one heart at a time. And that's the best way that I found. And so largely, we have popularized this thing called men's work through social media. It's already happening. There's many men's circles and men's groups happening all over the world. We stand on the shoulders of giants coming out of the mythopoetic movement. But even before then, you know, Andre 3000 said it over the weekend. He said, great things happen in small rooms,
Hmm.
right? And small groups of men can have an incredible impact on our planet. The question is, how will we impact the planet? Are we
Mm-hmm.
going to promote more taking, more deforestation,
Right.
more harm that's being expressed? Or are we going to come out of the head into the heart, lead from our hearts, express more love, more compassion, more care, more empathy, more gratitude? And it's, for me, the choice is obvious. And I would just like for more and more of us to see how important that choice really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what every single choice that we make, it has weight and it carries
Absolutely.
over. And so one man at a time, one heart at a time, that's the mission we're on. And it's working, man. I really see it. I really see it. I wanted to speak to this earlier because the piece of diversity is really important. When you were speaking of humanity and the othering that we do to each other, I just came off of Convergence in Colorado. And in that circle, we're entering into a space of ritual combat that we were just speaking about,
Mm-hmm.
sparring, putting on the gloves. Two men step in. One man is a white Southern cop. He's a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going through it in his life. The other man is a black man from Chicago, and he's going through it in his life. And I'm not going to share their names or their personal stories. But when I tell you, we could have not had two more different men coming from further ends of the spectrum into this ritual ceremony of combat, like it just, it almost kind of like, what's going to happen here?
Right.
And because what happens out there is something to be afraid of.
Mm.
It's something to choose to choose a side on. But what happened was they made the agreements, they stepped in, they met each other with respect, they threw hands, and as soon as the combat was over, they both fell to the ground on their knees crying and holding each other.
Mm.
And I'm talking about this man from Chicago was talking about he literally said, I have never had a good experience with a police officer in my life. In
Mhm.
fact, they've been violent.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
for him to step in there and to embrace this brother, because at the end of the day, when we strip all the titles and the noise away, it's just two men, two brothers, like
Yeah.
seeing them come together and in their grief, in the similarity of the pain that they're experiencing in their lives, that has nothing to do with their titles or their stories. And to see them let go of those projections that they each may have had on each other, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because those projections are strong.
Yeah.
But to watch them shed through this ritual that we've created, man, it's profound. It's profound work. I know that if more of us get away from the stories that are being pumped through the media and start to see each other as human beings, as brothers, the ripples that come out of that will have really positive impact on our planet. And so I do it for those moments, like those little moments that are out in the forest that are very sacred and no one will really ever know. But I know that those men will take that back into their families
Yeah.
and that impact, it will ripple into the people that they touch. And so it's kind of, it's miraculous, these things that happen.
Mhm. It
And
is.
I love to be a witness to it.
Mhm. One of the things that I've been watching you guys grow over the past few years, and one of the things that I really like that I've seen recently, and I'm gonna wrap this up soon, but one of the things I really like is that what I've seen you do is transition a little bit more into service, right? Transition a little bit more into giving back to the community in whatever way that looks like. Um, why is that important? And what does it
To
look
be of
like?
ser- yeah, yeah, to be of service to others is the way through, actually.
Yeah.
I think that all of the prophets have said such things, including Jesus Christ,
Mm,
including those like Gandhi or Mother Teresa. Like being of service to others is that great responsibility that we've been handed.
yeah.
And what it's looked like more recently was during the Maui fires
Mm,
in Lahaina. Our brother Kale lives on Maui. We were actually having an event during the time when those fires started. And instead of moving on with the event, acting as if nothing has happened, these brothers went and got chainsaws, they got tools, they cleared
mhm,
debris from roads. They went up to help some elderly folks who were kind of stuck in their house due to the trees that had fallen over and things like this. And that's what I'm saying. We're doing this work not as a end in itself, but as a means to have enough capacity actually to pass it on to be of service to others. It could look all different ways. That was like a really significant one. On top of that, not only what happens in the immediate, like in the immediate response, we're training ourselves as brothers and as men not to react, not to have emotional reactions, not to blame or judge or shame, but to respond from the heart with integrity. What should we do? How should we show up? And if we have someone who can lead us, in this case, it was Kale, um, we actually our natural state as men is to be of service.
mhm,
Like I truly believe that. There's some judgment relationally where like, oh, men, they always want to fix. They want to be fixers. It's like, no, 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 we want to be of service. We want to be of service. We want to help. I've seen it time and time again. I know it to be true. We want to be of service. We don't want to fix or bypass.
mm,
Point us in a direction. Give us a target and we're going to go hit it. Do
mhm.
you feel that in yourself? Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the mission, right? The purpose. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think I didn't always, well, I know I didn't always feel that. Like, absolutely not. I think when I was a very lost boy living in a man's body, I didn't feel that. Like I wanted what you wanted when you first walked into the sweat lodge. I wanted somebody to pat me on the back and tell me it was going to be okay. I wanted someone to like, play the victim card for me and say, "Oh, well, she's terrible. She's this, she's that, whatever. And you're great. You're great, Ned. You're great, Adam." That's what I wanted. But no, now absolutely. It's about the mission. It's about giving back. Because like you, I have been very fortunate. I mean, my parents are wonderful. I grew up in a wonderful place, and I've had a really excellent life, and I hope to have a much more excellent life for a very long time, right? And the thing that gives me the most joy is seeing the joy in other people, right? Seeing them, seeing people experience listening to a river for the first time, or following a track for the first time, or just figuring out like who the fuck they are for the first time, and having that little light bulb go off in their head, like that says something. Oh, wow. Like, I do have a voice. I am powerful. Like those are the things. That's the reason. That's what lights me up, man. That's what gets me excited and gets me out of bed. Like I don't, yeah, I like going off into the woods and hunting. I like riding horses. I like doing all of those things for myself, but way more than that, I like to see the joy in other people like, when they have a revelation of their own in whatever way that's possible. And not that I facilitated it, not that I did anything except for was there to witness, was there to witness it, and perhaps created an opportunity or a space to allow it to happen. But it's really my own witnessing of their coming of age, of their joy, of their transformation that really excites me, man. Yeah. And that is my mission. That is definitely a big part of it.
Yeah. There's so much humility in service as well. And I feel like it's important to be humble. Um, the washing of the feet,
Mm,
you know, there's a story of Christ where it's like he's given this power and this responsibility, by his disciples. And what's the first thing he does? He washes their feet. Like, dude, there's a lot of potency in these stories. And
hmm.
so what does that look like for us as an organization? One of the greatest places we can be of service is to the youth. And I really believe this. I'm really hoping this for our future. But to create, we already have a nonprofit, but a space that is, I envision a space that is free for youth to come to have uh, this education and also these experiences of initiations.
Hmm.
This is not about growing a business by any means. This is the service, because that's what I was missing as a young man,
Yeah.
was that part. And it's for me, it would have been right around 16, 17. That would have
Yeah.
been the right time. And so if a guy like you, Ned, or a guy like me came up to a kid like me
Hmm.
and gave me those words, gave me some of that education and experience, I feel like all young men deserve that, are hungry for it.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't some of these larger corporations or entities or billionaires back this? Because it's only going to create a better society. It's
Absolutely.
it's just the truth. And we all know it. This is what's
Yeah.
so funny about it. Everybody knows it. Like, oh man, if someone would just educate these boys, we'd be a lot better off. We'd have a lot less isolation, a lot less addiction,
Yeah.
a lot less suicide,
Totally.
straight up.
Totally. And a lot
And
better
so
relationships and institutions and all of it.
And it's just like anything else. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Hmm.
Some of these young men that I have personally worked with that are in our son's youth program, to see the transformation happen, some of them were in gangs. Some of them
Hmm.
were dragged all over the place, in a military family, not understanding who they are, having no connection to themselves.
Yeah.
And so having mentorship and just a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a encouragement, a little bit of acknowledgement goes a long way for a
Yeah.
man's heart.
Yeah.
And so to be able to provide that broadly, you asked me earlier, what would be the big vision? I would
Hmm.
love to see that. I would love to see a space where parents, and we get a lot of single mothers who come to us as well. What can you do for my boy? You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
would love to be able to say, send them in. We
Right.
got you. It's at no cost. All of the mentors are volunteering their time. All of our men have been trained. They're being of service. We've done background checks. We've
Mhm.
covered our bases here, and we are really here to be of service. That would be so fulfilling to my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's beautiful and very much needed. Yeah, because I think I was a lost boy, and I think there are so many other little lost boys that need positive role models, that need positive mentors, in their lives to help them become men, essentially.
And to be honest, the men need it too.
Oh, for
This is
sure.
the part of the story that people don't realize. For those adult men to be able to be an encourager, to lend the the story or the
Yeah,
encouragement or the acknowledgement is filling their cup.
totally.
And that's the relationship, that is the reciprocity that we're currently missing, both with our youth and with our elders.
Mhm.
And so here we are, Ned, we're the adults in the room. What
Mhm.
will we choose? And I know what you and I are choosing to do with our time
Absolutely.
and with our resources. And so the call is for other men. What will you choose to do with your time and your resources and your legacy? If your legacy is some status or accumulation of material possession, can't take that shit with you.
Mm-mm.
A legacy of service, as we were speaking about earlier, is the thing that will be passed on.
Mhm.
And it's from where I'm sitting right now, it's the only thing of relevance that we can do is pass on a legacy of service and of helping others.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for that, man. Well, with that in mind, passing it on, man. I mean, like, passing on the legacy. And look, and we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to continue this conversation in December, but also want to be respectful of your time because I know you got another call coming on. Um, how, you're going to pass it on, right? You're going to pass on this legacy. If men, if boys, if people want to work with you, they want to work with the Sacred Sons. Um, how do they find you? Where do they get a hold of you, man?
Yeah. sacredsons.com is a great place to start. Get into our pathway, our leadership training. This is the best way to join the community. Um, I am at Adam Jackson on Instagram and at Sacred Sons for those who want to check out the work. And that's another part of my story too, Ned.
Hmm,
There might be a desire to connect with me,
hmm,
and I have created something that my fingerprint is embedded in. And
hmm.
so connecting with Sacred Sons is connecting with me.
Right.
Even if you're with another leader, even if you're over with Anton or you're with Ned or you're, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
getting into the community, starting your own men's circle, taking some of the tools and the teachings that we have in LT1, like that is actually connecting with me.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because I've got 4 children, I got 3 sons, I have a wife, and I'm not always accessible. And my
You're a busy
intention
man.
is, again, it's to be of service in a way it's actually not about me. It's bigger than me. It's truly bigger than me. And if there's a brother out there who wants one-on-one mentorship connection, we have an offering that we're filling up right now. It's called the Founders Circle. It's really special. We're doing a 3-month journey from origins to legacy.
Mm,
It's a group of 10 men. It's facilitated by myself and Kale. We get a lot of touch points. We have an in-person experience together, and it's a more intimate container if
mhm.
someone actually wants to be close to me as the human Adam Jackson. And I'm always just gonna do my best, as I said in the beginning, to keep being me.
Yeah, yeah, man.
And you're invited. And I really appreciate you, Ned, and for having me here and for the conversations that we've had, both recorded and out in the wilderness. And I look forward to more.
Yeah, brother.
Really calling in this hunting trip, and because I got to get my boys. I just took my son Holland
Mm.
fishing, and we had a great time.
Yeah, where'd you
So
go?
we went in San Diego, off of the coast of San Diego. We went rock fishing.
Nice,
So
nice.
these rockfish, they're like 500 feet down. You drop the line in. It
Yeah,
takes a few minutes to reel them up, but it was a great experience.
yeah, yeah.
And then Hannah cooked up this fish. We had some whitefish
Nice,
pasta. It was amazing.
nice. Yeah, man. I'd love to get those boys out. Johan, especially, like he's so adorable, man. Love to get them out in the woods And, I mean,
Can
just
I
like
just tell you,
teaching. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. He
Yeah.
said to me the other day out of nowhere, he said, "Dad, when can I see Chef Shay again?"
That's cool,
You
man.
know,
Yeah.
Chef Shay was hooking him up with that cheesecake
Yeah,
and with
yeah,
the
yeah.
eggs, and, like,
Yeah.
he really loved that experience that we had in Canada.
Yeah, man. Well, I'd love to get out there in the woods with the man, and that would be an absolute joy. I will see you soon, brother. See you in a month, probably. We'll sit around in a circle and yeah, we'll chat some more.
Yeah. We'll see you at EMX December, San Diego. Love you, Ned.
All
Appreciate
right,
you, brother.
brother. Love you too. We'll catch you later, man.
Peace.
We got a few things coming up in the new year. We are holding our Primal hunts October 1st to the 4th and November 5th through 8th. These are opportunities for you to deepen your work as a man, as a hunter, and as an outdoorsman. They're group hunts with black bear in the wilderness of the Eastern Sierra of California, and you will be pushed to your limits. You will learn how to track a bear, and you will learn how to be transformed. If you want more information on these, you can apply through our website, www.stepintoyourwild.com, or hit me up on Instagram or TikTok these days at stepintoyourwild. We are also running our Backcountry Fly Fishing Academy July 9th through the 12th, where folks will learn how to read a river, cast a fly line, and have the opportunity to catch native Lahontan cutthroat trout in one of the most spectacular places in California. These are super fun trips and fun for both men and women alike. Again, you know where to find me. I also have a few, and mind you, a few open spots for 2026 bear hunting, but only a few. We're booking up fast, so if you want to get on the books for black bear hunt in the wilds of the Eastern Sierra, hit me up on my website. Like I said, stepintoyourwild.com, or over at IG at stepintoyourwild, even TikTok these days at stepintoyourwild, and we'll make it happen. And listen, these hunts are not for everybody. If you're not ready to push yourself to the limit, if you're not ready to track what's inside and outside, you're not ready for this trip. They're tough, they're hard, and we're tracking one of America's largest predators. So if you're not ready for that, don't hit me up. Also, we have few new offerings in the new year, including a field to table event at our farm in Ohio, where we will be teaching folks how to hunt, process, and prepare whitetail deer. This will be very different than our wilderness trips. You have the opportunity to stay in a restored cabin built in 1802 on our family horse farm in Ohio and hunt some of the most prime whitetail country in North America, and be served food for one of the finest chefs in the region. Bases for this are very limited. So if you're interested in this one-of-a-kind field-to-table experience, you can apply for one of the select spots on our website, www.stepintoyourwild, or again on Instagram, all places, Step Into Your Wild. Finally, we are hosting a Boundary Waters canoe trip and fishing trip with my friend Bradley, over at Nature Is Not Metal in August. And for more information about prices and exact dates, those will be coming soon. So look for that. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Wild Lab. If you're ready to step out of the space between into real practice, check us out online at www.stepintoyourwild.com, on Instagram at stepintoyourwild, on TikTok at stepintoyourwild, on YouTube at stepintoyourwild. Check out all the offerings that we have coming up. Details will be in the links in the show notes. And until next time, stay curious, stay connected, stay wild.